What is going on, everybody? And welcome to the Worship Guitar Show number 27. We are going to be talking about modes, chords, scales, fingerings, all of this stuff. I think the question that some of us might be asking ourselves is, well, what exactly does this have to do with worship? And I would have to say, everything. So, in any case, thank you so much, first of all, for joining us this evening. Um, Us is me, myself, and I. Somewhere in the wings probably is my. He can't tolerate me calling him my boss, so he's my publisher. But he'll probably chime in at some point in the chat. Always great to have Bruce along. But in any case, most importantly, it's great to have you guys here. This is a topic that is near and dear to my heart as I center myself and take the blight. I love these, but they look terrible on camera. All right, so the deal is this concept of modes. So in my other life, as some of you, and perhaps most of you probably know, I've been doing this 30-day technique tune-up challenge. And I've been going over like a bazillion different types of techniques. A lot of it shred focused, but as I love to say, not everybody who plays at church just plays at church. So last night, kind of the lesson was around basically targeting the tonality of the A minor scale, utilizing the D Dorian fingering. And there were a couple of very interesting comments about, kind of different people's take on the difference between fingerings and modes. And one guy got kind of downright persnickety about the whole thing. It was very interesting. And the thing is, I am a mode evangelist, so it's interesting to see somebody that's a little bit more extreme than I am, just kind of going off on a tear. It was actually embarrassing for them, really. But it was also a really good opportunity for me to realize that, I'm painfully aware of the fact that there is a huge amount of confusion around modes. I have the privilege of working with a number of students. Oh, thanks for the like, whoever that was. Who, I get a chance to take across this modal journey. And most of the time when people show up on my doorstep, they are usually a little bit more confused than not. So, what we want to do is bring forward a couple of assets to the show this evening. And it should make it pretty straightforward to be able to see how these things, where did those go? Okay, well, that's okay. I know where to find them, but that's very strange that they have gone and disappeared. In case, I prepared some assets. Here we go. Let's try that. That should be very helpful for a number of you. And the kind of the deal is that this connection, if you take a look at those red dots there, that to me is one of the most illuminating things that I've seen that I've ever kind of produced as a teacher that really kind of allowed me to go, there it is. There's the distillation of what this thing's all about. And those are relative to the key of C major. So I'm going to take that down for just a moment, but I wanted to, actually, you know what? I'm going to leave that up for a sec. Let's take a moment and talk about that C major scale that's up there. And by the way, I fully encourage and invite questions, no matter how sophisticated or novice they may be, because this is a subject that can be confusing for some folks, and we've covered it once or twice before, but I always like to go back, especially with, after last night's episode, and make sure that we're all on the same page moving forward, that we kind of eliminate the lack of clarity that exists around the subject, and more importantly, have a very clear idea of how we can apply the relationship between scales and chords and modes to what it is that we do in the act of making worship music. Let me just open up said chat function over here and see who's got to say what. That was not the click that I wanted to make. Let's do this right here. There we go. Alrighty then. No comments yet over there, and good. All right, so here's the deal. There we go. Hey, all right, come on. Let's not make it any more of a mess than we need to. All right, first of all, Chris, good evening, my friend. How you doing? Let's move you down over here. Let's get that chatty stuff over there. Good, good, good. Uh, uh, there are happy mode and dark mode. I like the Phrygian mode, mysterious sounding, love it. All right. So, the short version is that the major scale, the fingerings that I actually really want to pull up. Hang on, I need to pull this up. Give me just a moment. I need to grab this thing that I'm really wanting to grab and drag in here. So give me half a second. I had done my preparation, but this little thingy here has just disappeared off into the wilderness. So I'm going to bring it back in. There we go. All right. Now, this goodness right here is kind of all about the real deal here. Now, that allows us to look at a couple of things in a very, very, very important way. If we think about the key of C major, the key that pretty much all Western music is based on, if we think about C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, when we think about the one chord for the key of C, it's going to be C major. The 2 is going to be D minor. The 3 is E minor. The 4 is G major. The 4 is C major. The 5 is G major. The 6 is A minor. The 7 is basically going to be a B diminished, which I'm going to have to play like this. And then there's our C major. All right. So the deal is, when we think about, and I'm going to move to the key of G. Why am I going to move to the key of G? Well, if we think about the fact that the key of G basically starts on the bottom string at the 3rd fret, gives you a nice run of an octave on an electric guitar. You can get from the 6th string to the 1st string and back easily. It is just the key for the guitar. It's also got all the open strings. And so we're going to use the key of G as our example here. If we were to, first of all, getting back over here to the key of C, as you take a look above me, which is kind of strange, you again see that the notes are C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. And as you think about them as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, as well as C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and C, you can see that the half step, the first one you encounter is between the E and F, and the second one you get to is between the B and C. All other natural adjacent notes are a whole step apart. So the deal is if we think about that half step occurring between the 3 and the 4, and we move to the key of G major, we go G, hold to A, hold to B, half to C, and then hold to D, hold to E, hold the F sharp, and that other half step occurring between 7 and 1. That's why that formula of the major scale goes as it does. For in the key of C, again, it's 2 wholes and a half as you go from C to D to E to F, hold to G, hold to A, hold to B, half to C, which we can think about as 1, hold to 2, hold to 3, half to 4, hold to 5, hold to 6, hold to 7, half to 1. The important and very big bullet there is to just look at the relationship between note names and scale degree numbers. Looking at scale degree numbers, it doesn't matter what key we're in. If we think about the relationship of the major scale, looking at the keyboard up there as basically being 1, hold to 2, hold to 3, half to 4, hold to 5, hold to 6, hold to 7, half to 1. That is basically our formula. We can move that around and place it anywhere. But when we express it as C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, that is an absolute expression of the major scale at C. Can't be anything other than that. If we take that same hold 1, hold to 2, hold to 3, half to 4, hold to 5, hold to 6, hold to 7, half to 1, 1 half to 7, hold to 6, hold to 5, hold to 4, half to 3, hold to 2, hold to 1, and express that down at G, it becomes G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, G, F sharp, E, D, C, B, A, G. All right, so the ability to separate those two, but also see how they relate together, but also be able to see them separately, but see how they relate together, is kind of the whole basis of this thing. In that, it doesn't matter what key we're in, if we can kind of figure out, oh, right, that's the 3 and the 4 and the 7 and the 1 for the relative major, that allows us to set up shop in some key that may not be as friendly as this. For example, the key of A. A, hold a B, hold a C sharp, half to D, hold E, hold a F sharp, hold a G sharp, half to A. I remember when I first started thinking about the notes in the key of A major, I got a little flustered. It's just a little strange having that much stuff that's not natural. But once you get used to thinking about it, all right, there's 1, hold a 2, hold a 3, half to 4, hold a 5, hold a 6, hold a 7, half to 1. And that's A, hold a B, hold a C sharp, okay. half to D, hold to E, hold to F sharp, hold to G sharp, half to A. You begin to get comfortable with it. The place where we get comfortable with it the most, ironically, is A, hold to B, hold to C sharp, half to D, hold to E, hold to F sharp, hold to G sharp, half to A. And it kind of goes against logic of how we want to think about things as guitar players. We are so pattern focused that we like to believe, for the most part, that the patterns are going to reveal what we need to reveal. Now, I will digress and get a little bit of into the weeds about this one particular comment that appeared on last night's video, because it's really important. Most of the time when people are a little bit less reserved in their POV than they arguably should be in a public forum, there's always some truth hiding there. And the person's point was, don't confuse fingerings with modes. Which I thought, okay, let me make sure I don't climb myself up in a tree about this, because this is an important thing that obviously set off a nerve. There was a separate comment on Facebook about the same thing, even though in the description of it, it's talking about capturing the sound of A minor using the D Dorian fingering. I could not have been any more clear than by putting it in the title. That said, there was still confusion. As a music educator, if there's confusion, it's my fault. So I want to make sure that that's not the case here. So the deal is, what are the fingerings exactly? Like, really, what is a three-note per string fingering? Why does it exist? And why are they named the way they're named? And the reality is that we've got to have some way of looking at the guitar neck, sticking our fingers down, and instead of kind of going, I don't know, that sounded good, actually being able to have an absolute way of expressing the notes of, well, let's go back to G major. G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, C, B, A, G, F sharp, E, D, C, B, A, G, F sharp, E, D, C, B, A, G. And gosh darn it, that looks an awful lot like what that G major three-note per string mode that Joe Satriani, depending on where you're from, wrote down on a piece of paper and handed off to me one day and said, go memorize that. It was never presented as a distinction between a fingering and a mode. It was just implicit that if you want to play the G major scale, the logical place is to start on the G. And if you wanted to take the Dorian mode, this is where people begin to get a little bit confused. Dorian is simply saying we're starting the major scale off of its second note. Phrygian is simply saying we're starting the major scale off of its third note. Lydian off of the fourth note. Mixolydian off of the 5, minor off of the 6, Locrian off of the 7. It's really just that simple. That is to say, if we wanted to take the G major scale, G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, and play G Locrian, which is based on the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tone, we just go F sharp, G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, B, A, G, F sharp, E, D, C, B, A, G, F sharp, E, D, C, B, A, G, F sharp. All right? Now, here's the thing, is that when we're playing, most of the time, in a key, there's going to be a tonal center. I don't know, let's pick A Dorian. Now, we don't normally start off a Sunday morning service like that, but the point being is that is the sound and the tonality of the Dorian mode, which kind of, if you will, equals the G major scale centered around its second degree. notes, degrees, kind of similar things. So that you can think of the major scale as having 7 degrees, 7 notes, 7 scale degree numbers. All right, so the deal is, the interesting thing that happened there, though, when I went up basically to imply that D dominant 7 chord there, I didn't shift out of A Dorian, but one of the strange things that happened is the gravitational pull of what we're going to refer to as the 5 chord. If we're thinking about the key of G, G is 1, A is 2, B is 3, C is 4, D is 5. So I'm going 2 chord, A, minor 7, 5 chord, D dominant 7. When I was over that, you could really hear the mixolydionedness of that chord bleeding through. You can just hear it. The tonality, we still keep shifting back around to A Dorian. The chord progression very clearly, even when we're at this 5 chord. Point being is that you can really hear when we're at the 5, we're not in mixolydian, but the influence of that chord being rooted at the 5 begins to pick up some of the harmonic quality of that. It's a very strange subset, and hopefully you guys have a deep enough understanding of the modes that I didn't freak anybody out there, but it's just kind of the reality of this. Okay, the main heart and soul of what tonight we're going to be going over is this. If we were to take this G major scale, G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, and G. Hey, all right, hey, we got lots of comments. Now, here's the thing. Unfortunately, because of the way my streaming software connects to Facebook, I'm not able to have the comments feed through. So I've got the stuff from YouTube lighting up my screen, but I'm seeing a bunch of lovely comments over here to all the wonderful, wonderful people over here in Facebook. Hi. So first of all, hello, Schroeder. Hello, Lonnie. Hello, Paul. Great to see you. Late to class is better than not making it to class at all. Chris, hello. Pedro, great to see you. Wayne, hello. That song here sounding great, by the way. Okay, so let me go through here and read everybody's comments so I can actually be up to speed with you. Schroeder, I am looking forward to learning too. So one of my favorite things about teaching is you always learn something. Okay, how do I save this to my save those to my computer? Hang on. Sure, hang on. Let's see what I can't do here real quick. Those should be Dropboxed. Give me a moment. Okay, so date modified. And yep, there we go. And then you copy Dropbox link. Oh, you know what? I can just drag and drop these into that. Give me a moment. We can do this. I've never done this before, but I love endeavoring, and endeavoring we're going to do. So hang on a second here. Let's get over to here. Good. All right, I am dropping these into the chat right now. So, boom. And there we go. So everybody should have those in a matter of moments. There's the first one. Did they both go? Come on. All right, let's take a look here. Refresh that puppy. And let's take a look. All right. It does not look like they went through. So let me try that one more time. Let me do one at a time here. So we're going to send through our... Good. All right, there we go. One down. Good. Here come the modes. All right, so this is not all 7 modes. So let me just be clear about that. What I did want to do was outline There we go. All right, so let me pull up my screen so I can see everything, and then let me head back into the comments here so I can see everything you guys are doing over there. Almost there. There we go. And that was Peace in the Valley. No, not yet. Gotta love it when you just go backwards and it doesn't go back to the screen that you're at. That's okay. All right. There we go. All right, perfect. Okay, Lonnie, those should be in this thread, or at least inside the main post associated with this stream. So you should be able to grab those now. And then you can just save them. Paul, again, great to see you. Late or not. Chris, hello. If most worship songs are written purely major scales with the chords that go with it, is there much call to using modes in that? Or is it simply about getting people to be more creative in writing worship songs and using modes in writing? All right. Brilliant question. Giant opportunity to rabbit trail. But I'm going to keep it very straightforward if I possibly can resist chomping on all of that bait there. Okay, so let's take a look up there. You can see that I've got, I chose to use, if you take a look at that first diagram, hey, what's going on, Alan? Good to see you there. So we're going to be relative to the key of C major. So you can see that the names of those modes there are C major, A minor, G mixolydian, F lydian. And to the right there, you can see Roman numerals, uppercase Roman numeral 1 next to C major, lowercase Roman numeral 6 next to A minor, uppercase Roman numeral 5 next to G mixolydian, and uppercase Roman numeral 4 next to Lydian. Okay, so basically what that's saying is this. It's saying that we're taking the key of C major, whose notes are C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, and we're starting off the C note, and we're taking those same notes and we're starting them off the A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, and we're starting them off the G note, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, and we're starting the F note, F, G, A, B, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F. Forgot the modes there, or I forgot my mode fingering. Hey, what's going on, Alan? All right, so the deal is what I did there, that I am, I've been talking to my students about this for quite some time, is that if we take that C major scale and we literally take the first, third, and fifth tones in the first, third, and fifth tones in the second octave, that's where that chord comes from. Okay, so the idea is the fact that if we're in the key of C major, our chord progression, I purposely set it basically, it's a 1 chord. If you take a look at those Roman numerals there in red, it's a 1 chord, 6 chord, 5 chord, 4 chord. Not an F sharp. All right, so that's what happens when you play a note that's not in the key. All right, so let me play it very simple. Let me tune this beast. The tremolo and the tuning did not necessarily want to mix very well. Give me just one moment. All right, so back at this. So I'm going to take it very simple. All right, what I did was added just the little tiniest bit of decoration, but this is where those notes begin to matter. So let's say I did it up here, and I'm playing that little group of 3 notes there. That's just basically a C major triad. So now what I'm doing is if you take a look at the red dot on the third string, the note that I added for each one of those chords was the note immediately above the red dot. So to answer your great, brilliant, love it, thank you for asking a question is, one of these days, all right, I get it. So that's my left, they're to my left. I have figured this thing out. This is great. Thank you. I said I was going to learn something. So those guys up there to my left are just the triads out of the upper octave of each of those modes. The note that is right to the downhill side of the red dot on the third string, and for the Lydian mode, you would have to move over to the second string. But let's just imagine to finger it, it's actually going to be a whole step up there. But the point being is that next adjacent note on each of those strings is telling you where you can add your decoration. If you don't know, first of all, that these notes are, first of all, C, D. All right, backing up one step. Let me be really clear about this. These fingerings are determined by basically saying, hey, you know what? As opposed to playing the 3-note string modes, I want to start off my second finger. And I want to go exactly 2 octaves. And if I do that from C to C there, using the C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, B, A, G, F, E, D, C, B, A, G, F, E, D, C. Now, this is one of the advantages of these fingerings. The great thing about the key of C is it's pretty easy to just go C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. So if I can play the fingering and go C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, and then do that at the same time, I can go C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, B, A, G, F, E, D, C, B, A, G, F, E, D, C. That's not like the fanciest trick in the book, so long as you get the right group of notes. In the key of C major, it's kind of hard to go wrong. A little minute ago, I did play an F sharp. But again, the advantage of actually knowing what the notes are is when you play a wrong note, you're like, let me not play that F sharp at the 7th fret on the 2nd string in the key of C major. Let me play the F natural, the 6th fret. Always great to have what I would like to refer to as a handle. You can grab a hold of it. You can taste of it as you will. But the point being is that by being able to kind of go, oh, it's this. All right. So the point being is that at the point that I was able to kind of go, all right, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, that's C, E, G. Wasn't rocket science in terms of how I went from just playing this dumb little scale pattern, which, just take my word for it, is a C major scale. I just optimized it by taking the 1st, 3rd, 5th notes in both octaves, and it's by rambling through the note names, I just went, oh, that's C, E, and G. Well, guess what? If I know the notes in the key of C, all right, hang on a second. Where's my little keyboard guy? Where's my keyboard? Hold on. There we go. So if we know the notes in the key of C, go C, hold the D, hold the E, half to F, hold the G, hold the A, hold the B, half to C, and then I should have created some scenes. I apologize. Basically, we can go, all right, this is C, E, G, which means it's going to be E, half to F. That's where I'm going to add that little bit of decoration. And if you take a look at the C major scale fingering there, you can see I've got basically those 3 red dots, which I'm fingering 3, 2, 1, and on the 3rd string there, that G string, that note is E, and I just move up a half step and add F. Or if I want to move down, I move down a whole step. If that's E, that's D. All right, not the cutest, most adorable movement, but when we are embellishing with the notes in the key based on the mode from which the chord is created, I'm going to do Pastor Doug again. Based on the mode from which the chord is created, that right there, ding, 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 ding. That's why your question was the $1 million question. Just so genius, dude. So the deal is now once we kind of go, okay, well, that first chord, that C major, is just an expression of the C major scale. So if I want to add some other right, this thing's not going to stay in tune for me. The point being is that is where kind of the magic of this stuff really begins to happen. And we just begin to, what do you say a telly's going to treat us right tonight? All right. Ooh, no, I'm going to play this one. All right. So the deal is, those embellishments are everything when we're playing on a small worship team, and maybe we don't have 5 million tracks from the actual album playing in the background, and we got to figure out how we're going to go from cowboy chords, that is to say kind of open position chords, or how we're going to teach the kid that's just starting out on guitar how to go from they're going, all right, C chord, A minor, G major, F major. Still not quite there. All right, the point being is that that's where we're going to find that. So let's say, for example, now we're going to hang at the C for a minute. That's how we begin to kind of go. There are notes there. I don't know how to find them. So continuing on just a little bit further down the rabbit trail before I back out. We all know that kind of on the left side and the right side of the where we got a finger, within a half step or a whole step, there's a good note to be found potentially. But if we don't know whether it's a half step or a whole step, most of the time we're just going to play the same stuff that we already know, because we don't want to make a mistake in worship, which I feel you want. But that's kind of where the advantage of being able to go, wait a second, C major, right? That's just C, D, F, G, A, B, C. A minor, A, B, C, D, F, G, A. G mixed Lydian, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. F Lydian, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F. It all of a sudden presents a framework such that we actually know where those chords came from in the first place. When we know where they came from in the first place, we know which notes we potentially want to add to the mix to add further embellishment, again, most importantly, to support the vocal melody and the framework of what's happening there, right? Because that is kind of the first and foremost of what I'm trying to do. So that's kind of my piano pluck. Because some Sundays you show up, there ain't no piano player, and somebody's got to play that part or at least fake it. Being able to kind of pull those notes out and go, all right, I know what's going on here. Ultimately, what that really comes down to is you take a look at those guys, and if we take a look at that C major scale, I would like you to take a look at the first and third fingerings. Now, as they're written, it's C major, which in theory would be starting at the 8th fret, A minor, which in theory would start at A at the 5th fret, and G mixed Lydian, which in theory would start at G at the 3rd fret, and F Lydian would be played down at the first fret using some open strings there for the first fingered notes. That said, as you kind of look at them side by side there, if you were to compare the C major and that G mixed linear, and just imagine they're actually C major. Well, as they're written, let's just say that they're G major because that lowest note on that first diagram is technically at the third fret, even though it's implicit that it's at C. But if you take a look at the first two notes of the major and the mixed linear, you'll see they're the same. Matter of fact, the first 6 notes are the same. So the only thing that's different about the two of those scales is compared to the major scale, the mixed linear, the 7th note is lowered by a half step, which means it has a flat 7. That now gives us a way of describing the differences between each of these modes in the major scale. And when you understand the differences between each of these modes in the major scale, you can then add the appropriate level of embellishments that you might want to have because you know what's actually in there. Now that is technically actually driven by the notes in the key, but when you start stacking modes at a common root, let's say I'm going to do let's say I'm going to go Phrygian. Mixed linear. All right, so you can kind of hear it's like, oh, something's happened over the same root. We're basically creating what Joe Satriani would describe as a pitch axis. We're taking the common root, we're changing modes against it. So the point being is where you can compare notes in a common key, that is to say where you were taking C major and A minor, which is starting the C major scale off of its 6th note, and G mixed linear, which is starting the C major scale off of its 5th note, and F linear, which is starting the C major scale off of its 4th note. Now we're playing those different modes at a common root. Then it becomes a little bit harder to just negotiate by saying, oh, well, they're all related by these 7 notes. The 7 notes are changing, or at least some of them are. Thanks, Rick. I appreciate that. Make that telly talk. Bruce, thank you very much. I love him. I love a man that can appreciate a good Telecaster. I have no idea what persona that was, but I ran with it. All right. So first of all, Chris, what a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful question. Brett, great to see you. Wayne, hello. Love adding tonight. So the thing about, so let's say we're here at, okay. We're still not quite there. All right, so the deal is, well, what are the good notes to add then? This is going to be the funniest thing I'm going to say all night. The ones that sound good. And this is the deal. So how do we know which ones sound good? Well, we just start experimenting, right? Like, let's say, for example, you kind of heard me go into kind of one of my go-to kind of Hendrixy kind of Mayer-inspired dealios. For example... I hit the 9 there for you. All right, so the deal is, I'm a big fan of the 3 and the 4. But, that's basically the 5 and the 1, as in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the 1. And then basically I'm hitting the 5 and the 1, going up to the 6, back to the 5, 4, add there, and the 3. You can find that some of the embellishments will walk through nicely in the key as you kind of move them down. Just great stuff. So the idea is there may be an embellishment that you play. This is the greatest thing in the world, but the note that you end up selecting, especially when you end up at the nines, which is one of the reasons I will urge you to be cautious about the nines, is they have a tendency to sit right up in the vocalist register. And if the vocal melody goes to the 1 or the 3 and hangs there, and you're playing the 9, I should know this. I'm going to be playing C and D at the same time. We get a little bit of that going on, and the vocalist turns around and gives you one of those looks you never really, 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 really want to get. That is to say, so if that's the chord we went to, but the vocalist sings this, and I hit those two notes together. Now it may work. It may. So in other words, I hit added the 9, and I played the C there. It may work in a more complex chord, but I would be very careful about playing seconds right next to the vocal melody when they're sitting on a resolution tone. The 9 is a little bit dangerous to hang out, other than, which you were probably implying, just as a little bit of embellishmento. 9 is basically just, okay, so great question. Okay, so heretofore, I've gone basically C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, B, A, G, F, E, D, C, B, A, G, F, E, D, C. And if I were to pull up my other, okay, hang on a second. I know what I'm going to do. Hang on a second. This old dog's going to learn a new trick. Hang on a second. All right, so the Dopster is going to go here. We're going to go in this one, and we're going to get rid of the modes in this one. Over this one, we're going to add keyboard. There we go. Salty dog that he is. And this one, we're going to turn the keyboard off. Oops. Oh, yeah, we want the worship musician logo. Keyboard off, and then we're going to turn the modes on. There we go. All right, let's see if I got this right. All right, let's put that worship musician logo back on. There we go. All right. And we're going to turn them modes off. There we go. Okay, let's see if we got this right. All right, so there's our modes, and there is our not keyboard. There's our keyboard. We're going to lock that scene. There we go. There is our modes. We're going to lock that scene. We're going to go back over here. We're going to add the worship musician logo, and we are going to call that 3 scenes. Okay, great. Now, as we're looking at said keyboard, you can see that I'm basically just going C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. And that's just cycling through. And simultaneously, it's cycling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That said, the 2 in the second octave is the 9. So let's just say instead of going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So basically what it is, the 2, the 4, and the 6 in the second octave are often, but not always, referred to as the 9. The 2 an octave up adds 7 notes to the major scale. 2 plus 7, the number of notes in the major scale, you end up with a 9. The 4, add 7, the number of notes in the major scale, the 11. The 6, add 7, the number of notes in the major scale, gives you the 13th. So that is to say we've got this guy right here, and this guy right here, and this guy right here. So technically that 2, 4, and 2, 4, and 6, I've lost my mind there, are in the second octave, but I'm still going to think of that as a sus2, sus4, and depending on what else is happening, I'm going to be inclined to think of that as a C6. Now, where it becomes a little bit deeper than what we want to talk about tonight is when we start injecting the 7 in there. Which just generally speaking, when you add the 7 of the key, is the point that you start referring to the 2 as the 9, the 4 is the 11, and the 6 is the 13. And let's just leave it at that unless we have time to circle back on that. Because let me just say, the general, but not exclusive, but largely general rule is that when you start referring to them as the 9, 11, and 13 is when we've added the 7, as in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And all of a sudden now we've got, instead of, well, basically, That's a C major 9. This is an A minor add 9. This is a... Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, so that's a C major 9. This is an A minor 9. This is a G dominant 9. And this is an F major 9. Now, so those were C major add 9, A minor add 9, G major add 9, and F major add 9. Generally, when you start adding them into the second octave is when you start thinking of them as the 9, 11, and 13. But a lot of the time, without the presence, even if I put the 6, let's see, this chord right here, I'm going to refer to that as a C6. I really muddled the waters there, and I walked right into that, and I took the bait. But the short version is that this guy right here would be a C6. Lovely chord. I'm basically going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3. Lovely sounding chord. So the point being is I'm going to call that a C6, and I'm going to take that basically the same voice. I'm still going to call that a C6, even though I moved the 6 into the second octave. Okay, hang on a second. I'm going to get it on those sweet chords. That's beautiful. All right, awesome. Thanks, Guy. Thanks, Rick. Always appreciated. How about a little Doppler on the mode? All right. There we go. Thanks for that. All right. Most churches would have a keyboard or piano. Would most worship songs be in standard tune? That's a excellent question. The vast majority of the time, the answer is going to be yes. The keyboard equivalent of a capo is basically you can go in and retune the keyboard such that you're always playing in C major. I've seen that done and see it cause a giant traffic accident when it got left that way. We'll just leave it at that. Okay. All right. So, yes, I love adding that. So the sus4 and the sus2 are really great as well. So, yes, Wayne, absolutely. Those guys... Now, the interesting thing what I did there was I targeted, as I was on that C chord, just take my word for it, that's, well, okay, note-wise. All right, we're going for an edumacation. If you take a look up above there, you can see that the E is, in fact, the 3, because I got a 3 right above the E, and the F is, in fact, the 4. So basically what I was doing was this note right here, I'm going E to F. Now, basically that same note from the E to the F there, in the C, that is the 3 and the 4. As it turns out, in this A chord, that's actually the 5 and the 6, as in, I'm going to call out, I have to call it out appropriately. The A minor scale goes minor, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, flat 7, and that is compared to the major scales where we get this. If I took the first three notes of the major scale and the first 3 notes of the minor scale, in fact, you can see that when you look at this diagram right here, ski and hutch. All right, take a look at the first 3 notes of the major scale and take a look at the first 3 notes of the minor scale. And you can see, all right, major goes like this and minor goes like this. Or technically it's written, major goes like that and minor goes like that. People get ready. And that, by the way, was 1, 6, 4, 1. All right, so the point being is, that was, if I think about this as minor, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, flat 7, 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, and flat 6. The 3 and the 4 of this chord became the 5 and the flat 6 of that chord. So the interesting... There. little journey there for you. I heard it hiding in there somewhere. So the point being is, and yeah, I was totally ripping. People get ready. All right. Yeah, that is my Marshall refrigerator. Thank you for noticing that. All right. Yes, 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 yes. Play the gem, and once it's in tune, it won't go out. Thank you, Chris. Tell me about it. Gosh darn Telecaster. I love a Tele, especially with a mini humbucker in the neck. Yes, yes, yes. Joe, you said a lot. Funny story in my band, tuning guitars down a half step and then playing in church and standard laugh and forced me to learn my sharps and my flats. It's an excellent, it is excellent to get your scales in all keys down. Absolutely. So, all right. So getting back to the main heart of the matter is this. Most of the time, because of where the worship leaders' voices sit, we spend a lot of time in E and D, A and B, and B flat. I'm just going to say it. It just happens. As much as I talk about the key of G major being kind of the guitar key, B flat is a very comfortable key for male vocalists and for keyboard players. They just love to play in that key. And of course, the dreaded open B string is just waiting to chime in. So, we just kind of need to get comfortable with these different keys. So here's the deal. As we go back to, there we go. So if we look at kind of the black keys there, and the fact, again, there's no black key in between the 3 and the 4, and no black key in between the 7 and the 1, for all other adjacent notes like the 1 and the 2 and the 2 and the 3, the 4 and the 5 and the 5 and the 6 and the 6 and the 7, those are a whole step apart. That gives us some pretty good ammunition to begin to map the notes of a wacky key like B flat. So I'm going to start here because we're going to start, open A string seems like a logical place. So, by the way, just in case you didn't know, from A to B is a whole step, as we already saw. As a matter of fact, hold on, take a look at the diagram there. So if you take a look at A and B, the 6 and the 7 there, you're going to see in between there's A sharp and B flat. That little black key is what's called enharmonic. It's a single pitch with 2 different note names associated with it. And so it depends on what key you're in. So in between A and B, there is either a half step above A, which will be B flat, or a half step below B, which will be A sharp. In this particular case, we're looking at this as B flat. So basically, this is our 1, hold a 2, hold a 3, half to 4, hold a 5, hold a 6, hold a 7, half to 1. That is to say, I'm taking that numeric pattern that you can look at just above my head. That one I got right. But if it's to my left, I point over there. I learned that. I learned something tonight. So basically, 1, hold a 2, hold a 3, half to 4, hold a 5, hold a 6, hold a 7, half to 1. 1, hold a 2, hold a 3, half to 4, hold a 5, hold a 6, hold a 7, half to 1. B flat, hold a C, hold a D, half to E flat, hold a F, hold a G, hold a A, half to B flat. B flat, half to A, hold a G, hold a F, hold a E, half to D, hold a C, hold a B flat. Once you kind of begin to see it in a linear line like that, it gets a lot easier because then you go, I understand it. All right, so here, getting back to Chris's question and a number of other folks, is when you understand the construction of the major scale, and then you just know that you're just starting off of each successive note. And in so doing, if you take the first, third, and fifth of the major scale started off of each of the successive note, that's where these chords come from. And I do not have the diagram for this up, but just take my word for it. I'm going to move to the key of G major. It goes major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished, major, major, diminished, minor, major, major, minor, minor, major. And we can think of that once again as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. And if I thought about the 3, 6, 2, and 5 chord, not the 4 chord, 4 chord not, 3, 6, 2, 5. Thank you very much. They're really coming from the 3 mode. And the 6 mode. And the 2. And the 5 mode. 3, 6, 2, 5. So understanding kind of that relationship of how the modes inform you where these very simple chords come from, and then in turn they give you the information you need to have to fill in the blanks on adding the embellishment tones is really, really important. Because what it is it means as guitar players, we're no longer just kind of driven exclusively by the shapes. And this is, it's interesting, the folks that kind of got all heated about the shapes of the modes, they're just fingerings that are literally drawn by the note names. If I start using the 3-note string modes, that's the shape of the C major scale started off as C. The second finger root modes. Now, why are they important? Well, you already saw. You can literally draw the chords straight out of those modes, and and not only that, take a look at the shape. There's my C major bar chord, and that's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. 1, 5, 1, 3, 5, 1. And then if I wanted to play a minor chord, if this is 3, that becomes a flat 3. 1, 5, 1, 3, 5, 1. 1, 5, 1, flat 3, 5, 1. So all of a sudden we begin to understand a lot of what's going on here in the background. All right, I see more questions. Hey, I got a new face there. I hope I'm going to pronounce it Dean properly. Color me stupid. We change keys along. Guitar players need to do this without a capo. So I'm going to take the bait on it. So here's the thing: is like I am a non-capoer. The reason being is I've spent a lot of time studying the guitar neck. And I want to, I'll put it another way. I paid for all the flipping frets. I want to use them. I'm like, I'll pay. It's not like the music store just kind of lets you just kind of go, I just need the top. I'm a worship guitar player. I only need like the top, I don't know, 22 minus 5 is set. I only need the top 17 frets. So how about I only pay you X percent, whatever percentage of 17 of 22 is? They'd be like, no, but I will sell you a capo. So the point being, I got accused of capo shaming by somebody that had a physical disability, and that was not cool on my part. I didn't see that coming. The sound of a capo, Neil Sean is somebody I've been a huge fan of for years. In Bad English, John Waite, his voice is super high, so to kind of use those big kind of rock chords, Neil ended up capoing a lot, and it was the most awesome sound ever. And Neil knows his way around the guitar neck, right? So it wasn't like he needed to do it because he didn't know how to play in any other key other than G up and down the neck. He was doing it because he was going for a particular sound, and it was awesome. So when we're doing it as a vehicle, either because we have some physical impairment, and that could be an injury, right? Or because we're going for the sound, that's one thing. It's another thing to use the capo as a crutch, and that's where it gets to be dangerous. And a lot of guitar players, the reality is that I think most guitar players, if they had somebody that would sit down with them over a coffee and a couple of guitars and explain all this stuff to them, I think they would use the capo with far greater intentionality. And I think the reason that we become a capo culture, hashtag capo culture, is that we've just become dependent on the fact that we don't have anybody teaching us. Shane Wise, my dear gear whispering friend. I'm a guitar player, but I don't like capos on electric. Oh, that you said I don't like capos on electric in a church crowd. I'm surprised they haven't flamed you yet. Dave Cleveland, the rock star. Oh, dude, I am not worthy. Dave. Oh, so we have in our midst, oh boy, a brilliant session player, a brilliant guitar player, an amazing musician, an amazing guy, one of the nicest guys in the world, who also happens to be a Nashville session ace, and also has a teaching curriculum. Dave Cleveland without the A.com. Well, but like not CLEA, but CLEVELAND. Dave, wow. Dave and I are buddy. I adore this guy. We're like kind of, we got a thing, and it's a great thing that we got. So I am thrilled, humbled, and honored to have you in our midst, and what a pleasure. All right. I will get back to work. Okay. Dean, I use the capo on acoustic, but I think I've used it on electric. Deanne. All right. What's going on, Deanne? Thank you. I was like, I at least asked. You're welcome. I use capo to make chords I could never Without it, that's good. Especially in the studio. And that's great. Hide your cape. Everyone don't like duds see it. That's hilarious. Oh, you guys, I'm not a capo guy, but I agree with Doug. Dave, I love you. Oh, absolute brothers. I am. All right, I will attempt to regain my composure. What's going on over here in YouTube land? All right, good, good, good. All right. Oh, look at this. Oh, look at this. Hang on. Wait. Hold on, hold on. We got all sorts of stuff. All right, yeah, there we go. Wait, this is beginning to make sense. Good, I love that. Uh, People get ready. Absolutely. Beginning to make sense. B flat and E flat. Oh, those keys. There we go. And again, that's basically what this keyboard up here is informing us on, right? Basically, and the neat thing is again, and I'm gonna totally show off for Dave because this is me like going, look, this is so cool. The reality is that this concept, and Dave, I don't know if you were here when we were talking about the relative and the absolute and the relative. This is my new favorite thing about teaching guitar is the fact that the major scale, that if you can think about it, is basically 1, hold a 2, hold a 3, half to 4, hold a 5, hold a 6, hold a 7, half to 1, 1, half to 7, hold a 6, hold a 5, hold a 4, half to 3, hold a 2, hold a 1. That is a relative expression. We could move that around. 1, hold a 2, hold a 3, half to 4, hold a 5, hold a 6, hold a 7, half to 1. 1, hold a 2, hold a 3, half to 4. So we can move that anywhere, but as soon as we express that 1, hold a 2, hold a 3, half to 4 as C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, or G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp G, or F, G, A, B flat, C, D, E, F. We've now taken it and turned the relative into absolute. And by that I mean the one in the key of F is F. The one in the key, I should say in the key of F major is F. The one in the key of C major is C, which means the 2 in the key of C major is going to be D. The 2 in the key of F major is going to be G. The 2 in the key of G major is going to be A. And so it just gives us this ability to be able to do that. And the great thing is, if we take our understanding and our pliability with this 1, hold a 2, hold a 3, half to 4 business, and begin to apply that to the absolute, as in C, hold a D, hold a E, or F, hold a G, hold a A, or G, hold a hold a B, then we begin to have this pliability, but we have a knowledge and understanding that informs us at the note level. And this is my big revelation of kind of this year, is that the difference of really understanding the instrument in terms of the note names just allows you to make much, much, much better decisions. The irony is that the way the brain works is if you can kind of go, all right, B flat, hold a C, hold a D, half to F, hold a G, hold a A, hold a B, half to B flat, B flat, half to A, hold a G, hold a F, hold a E flat, half to E, hold E flat, half to D, hold a C, hold a B flat. If you can get that under your skull, again, B flat, hold a C, hold a D, half to E flat, which is our 1, hold a 2, hold a 3, half to 4, hold a F, hold a G, hold a A, half to B flat. That all of a sudden means that we can now go B flat, and we can just play the fingering. Again, we talked about this before. We're just walking away through the fingering. And if we can go, and mind you, at this point, we have figured out that B flat, B flat, C, D, E flat, F, G, A, B flat, B flat, C, D, E flat, F, G, A, B flat, C, D, E flat, F, G, A, B flat, A, G, F, E flat, D, C, B flat, A, G, F, E flat, D, C, B flat. You actually know what those flipping notes are. I'm like, wait a second, what? And that initially happened by having people go E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp, D sharp, and E. And being able to go E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp, D sharp, and E. And I was running my students through that, and I kind of went E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp, D sharp, E. And I went, what? Wait, how did that happen? What I realized is the brain is just like a magnet for information. Once you provide that clarity of, again, the relative, 1, hold a 2, hold a 3, half to 4, hold a 5, hold a 6, hold a 7, half to 1. So you understand the pattern. And again, hang on. There we go. Thank you, Matthew. Appreciate it. There we go. So he described it as WWH, WWH WWWH, which is 2 holes and a half, 3 holes and a half. That comes from the classical music background that a bunch of us have. We can recite that in our sleep. 2 holes and a half, 3 holes and a half, 2 holes and a half, 3 holes and a half. And that is, again, if you take a look at where the black keys are on the piano, the 2 whole steps and a half step and the 3 whole steps and a half step are really describing navigating around the black keys there. I've never said it like that. I get a gold star for that one, but that's exactly, you can literally, if you look at the black keys, you can kind of go, right, 2 holes and a half, 3 holes and a half. That 2 holes, again, is navigating around those black keys. The 3 holes is navigating around the next set of black keys collectively together. It's pretty obvious, but I've never really had it right above my head. Sorry. The point being is that by mapping the relative, as in 1 hold to 2 hold to 3 half to 4 hold to 5 hold to 6 hold to 7 half to 1, and then turning that into the absolute E hold to F sharp hold to G sharp half to A hold to B hold to C sharp hold to D sharp half to E, your brain kind of goes, got it. It's like the Matrix, program loaded. And all of a sudden you're E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp, D sharp, and E. And all of a sudden, if you're... So let's say we want to take our okay, we're playing a sus2, which basically means instead of playing, all right, so let me just unscramble the noise that's in my head. If you've ever seen What Women Want, that scene where he's hearing all the women's voices, I'm hearing all these things happening at the same time. It's kind of wacky, but it's true. And then I can just pull a little piece of the conversation out. That is 1, 5, 1, 3, 5, okay? All right, this is 1, 5, 1, 3. A whole step below the 3 is the 2, so I'm going to call it a sus2. Even though it's in the second octave. And that's the 1, 5. Instead of the 1, that's the 7 and the 2. Now, that is 1, 5, 7, 2, 5. You can also see that, though, as a B major triad, B, D sharp, F sharp, over E in the bass. And that is that dreaded slash chord the guitar players go running. It's like, maybe if I just turn down when the slash chord comes, no one will notice. All right, so slash chords, most of the time, are really just emphasizing... You're basically taking, if I were to take a C major chord, which is basically, in this case, we're going to take 1, 3, 5, 1, 3, 5. And if you think about C, E, and G as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and if this is C, G, C, E, and G, that is 1, 5, 1, 3, 5. Just take my word for it. So basically what I'm doing is I'm taking the 3 and placing it in the bass. And that is a C, C, D, E, a C over E, which is really a C major in, quote unquote, first inversion. So a lot of the time when you see that slash business, it's actually just saying, hey, we're taking this chord and we're putting that in the bass. And sometimes, like that C over E, don't sound good. Le Pupu sounds great. All right, and this guy right here is a C over G. C, E, G, 1, 3, 5. That's just taking the 5 and putting it in the bass. And so it happens. Now, the neat thing is there's one really great substitution. Where am I going to play that little puppy? I'm going to play that. Right. There we go. So basically, if you take the 5 chord, as in 1, 7, 6, 5, and play it in first inversion, the 5 chord is made up of the 1, 3, and 5 of the 5 mode. If this is the 5th mode, 6th mode, and the 7th mode, the 3rd note of the 5 mode is really the 7th note of the major scale. So a great substitute for the chord that you might play at the 7. so on and so forth. But the neat thing about this is you begin to make much more educated decisions. You're like, I actually know what's going on here. All right, the wacky business that I was doing there at the end, let me back up a step. All right, if you take a look at said keyboard there and you take a look at the 135, those note names are C, E, G. You take a look at the 246. If you can imagine, again, that the Dorian mode is starting the major scale off of its second note, and if you think of the D as that first note of the Dorian mode, that D, F, and A are really the 1, 3, and 5 of the Dorian mode, and E, G, B are the 1, 3, and 5 of the Phrygian mode. So basically, you've got these triad note groups, which are basically the 1, 3, and 5 of the mode started off of the major scale started off as its successive note. That is to say, if you think about C, D, E, F, G being the first 5 notes of C major, and D, E, F, G, A being the first 5 notes of D Dorian, and E, F, G, A, B being the first 5 notes of B Phrygian, and F, G, A, B, C, so on and so forth, you end up with G, key of C, C, E, let's see if I can do this, C, E, G, D, F, A, E, G, B, F, A, C, G, B, D, A, C, E, B, D, F, C, E, G. C, E, G, B, D, F, A, C, F, A, C, E, G, B, D, F, A, C, E, G. Those triad note groups will allow you to understand everything about music that you probably ever really, quote unquote, need to understand, because the chords are an actual expression of the modes. So getting back to the what's modes got to do with this? The idea is that when you look at the majority of the chords we play in worship are literally just taking the first, third, and fifth tones of each of these relative modes. So if our chord progression goes 3, 6, 2, 5 in the key of G, 3, 6, 2, 5, and resolving it to 1 there. Again, the 3, 6, 2, 5, B, D, F sharp, E, G, B, A, C, E, D, F sharp, A. Now, the deal is because I know in the key of C, C, E, G, D, F, A, E, G, B, F, C, G, B, D, A, C, B, D, F, C, E, G, C, E, G, B, D, F, A, C, E, F, A, C, A, C, E, G, B, D, F, A, C, E, G, B, D, F, A, C, E, G. That's literally going C, E, G, D, F, A, E, G, B, F, A, C, G, B, D, A, C, E, B, D, F, C, E, G. C, E, G, B, D, F, A, C, E, G, B, D, F, A, C, E, G, B, D, F, A, C, E, G. G, B, D, A, C, E, B, D, F sharp, C, E, G, D, F sharp, A, E, G, B, F sharp, A, C, G, B, D, G, B, D, F sharp, A, C, E, G, B, D, F sharp, A, C, E, G, B, D, F sharp, A, C, E, G, B, D. The triad note groups are always the 1, 3, and 5. All you do is just staple on, as in the key of C, the D triad is D, F, A. In the key of G, you got to have an F sharp, so it becomes D, F sharp, A instead of D, F, A. I'm going to kind of leave it there for a minute, but some folks are going like, that is the coolest thing ever. Memorizing those triad note groups for the key of C major unlocks basically every chord you're ever going to play. They may not all have the 1, 3, and 5 in them, but if you know what that skeleton is, it's awesome. Now, there's one other little trick here. So if you take a look at the C in the second octave there, and you take a look below it, you can see the 7 is a half step below it. All right, if you were to take a look at the 7, as in the first note of the Locrian mode, and take a look at the note below that, that is a whole step below it. So compared to the distance of the 1 and the 7 of the major scale, the 1 and the 7th notes for the Locrian mode, that is to say the major scale started off of its 7th note, is a whole step. That's why the Locrian mode has a flat 7. So what I am saying is that any mode, as in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, as in major, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, mixed Lydian, minor, Locrian, major, any mode that's got a black key immediately below the root will have a flat 7 based on any of the modes based on the key of C major, any of them that there. So that is to say, as we work our way up, we already saw that C going backwards in the octave, it's a half step, so that's a natural 7. But if you take a look at C, go up to D, if you start off with D and you look backwards, oh, there's a black key. D Dorian, quote unquote, has a flat 7. E Phrygian has a flat 7. F Lydian, no black key, natural 7. G Absolutely losing my mind. Flat 7. A minor, flat 7. B locrian, flat 7. So now what you've got, if you can count forward and count backwards, you now have the 1, 3, 5, and on the lower side of the 1 you get the 7. So basically now you pretty much, if you know your triad note groups and can figure out, is it a half step or a whole step to the note below there, you have your 1, 3, 5, 7 of the key. Now, why is that valuable? Because in between the 1 and the 3, you got your 2. In between the 3 and the 5, you got your 4. On the upper side of the 5, you got your 6. And on the lower side of the 1, you've got your 7, which basically means you know where everything is if you understand the formulas of the modes. That is fabulous. So it means that you can now start filling in the blanks. Let's say we want to add G, B, D, E, A, C, E, F sharp, B, D, F sharp, G, C, E, G, A, D, F sharp, A, B, E, G, B, C, F sharp, A, C, D, and G, B, D, E. You actually know what the next note is because you know what the next note is. That is powerful. When you walk into a worship service and you actually kind of go, okay, this is it. Now, we've covered the two. It's like the outside pieces of the ladder. The things that you actually step on and traverse on is actually learning to hear these things and understand how this information begins to inform your ear how to use this. That is to say, after a while, you're going to hear. I purposely played that way, by the way. You can hear, oh, I. Something like that. Oh, come. F sharp. And all of a sudden you're like, there's music hiding in that information. And that's where the understanding becomes really potent because you're like, I just have to spend a little bit of time sitting with this. And what's neat about that, that is a like I could hang, and mind you start tapping, they're going to throw you out or they're going to put you behind the curtain. But right? So the interesting thing is he superimposed a little kind of natural sixy in this as I was kind of doing a little D minor. What the heck was I doing? E minor. I turned it into I kind of do it. Basically E minor, E Dorian, and kind of like a E harmonic minor Delio with that little B7 sus4 to B dominant 7 type of deal. The dominant 7 got lost. It should have been over there, but it went, we don't want to get in the action down at B. That's me just being completely wacky, by the way. All right. Major scale is everything. That's right. Gosh darn it. There we go. Woohoo! All right, so Matthew Winter. So here's the deal. So why do we call it minor as opposed to Aeolian? Aeolian is not incorrect. That is to say, the original names were Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, Mixed Lydian, Minor, aka Aeolian, and Locrian. But have we ever played an Ionian or an Aeolian chord? No. Major chord and minor chord. So that's why we opt to call them that. But you are absolutely correct. Thank you. That capo flew the capo. I love that. Thank you very much. Thank you. Only use a capo when a riff falls easily. The original key and the leader drops a hole. So tell me about it. Bromance, come on, bring it on. Yep, works in every key. Imagine that. Totally guilty of playing shapes and not notes. But yeah, okay. There is no shame. Hold on, wait. Now, I actually have played that for decades upon decades, and I never realized when F G. So basically G, 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 F, D, F, G, F, D, G, F, D, G, G, B flat, G, B flat, G, B flat, G, B flat, or B flat G. I mean, it's a flippin' pentatonic shape. Let a shape be a shape. God created the shape so we didn't have to know the names. There are times we just want to play like a... No, I could actually track what those notes are. I actually know the G minor pentatonic is G, B flat, C, D, F, and G, but... But there are times I just want to play a shape. Nothing wrong with a shape. No shame in shapes. Same here, Matthew. Okay. Modal shapes as well. Surprisingly, it was years. 10 years before chord shapes came from that. Never got inversion thing. But now I see Cage. Now I see Cage. It changed everything. So, all right. So let's take a moment. I'm going to take the bait on that. All right. So, caged. Okay. I want to make sure that I do not insult anybody that belongs to the caged modal crowd, but I would like to uncage you. All right, so the deal is caged is a brilliant way to look at chords. And so basically the deal is if I think about my C shape, A shape, G shape, E shape, and a D chord, it gives me the ability to think about my C shape. There's my C shape, all right. There's my A shape, there's my G shape, and there's my E shape and my D shape. So that allows me to have a process for being... Let me run through that again. There's my C shape. So I'm playing C, an out of tune C, I might add, as a C shape. K, I'm playing that C as an A shape. A, G, I'm playing the C as a G shape. The C is an E shape, and the C is the D shape. Brilliant way for really being able to see different voicing of the chords. Now, technically, I do not see those as inversions because you're still playing the root and the bass. But it gives you a great way for mapping the neck. And from that, you could draw some great diatonic information there. But the thing is that at one point or another, there was what I would consider to be a short-circuiting between the number of notes as it related to the chords and the number of notes in the major scale. Dividing 7 by 5 does not make for easy math. And this is the thing, is that what ended up happening is there's a school of thought, and if it works for you, that's great, more power to you, that the idea is you sprinkle some modal notes on top of some pentatonic patterns, and all of a sudden you got 7 modes. I remember going to GIT, and I think the major scale shape, they played it like this. And Dorian, they played like this. And Phrygian, they played. And I was like, wait. Hold on. Dorian. And did I miss something? Because that really was like just starting off that next note of that scale you were just playing a second ago. And so basically the birth of kind of that school of thought is really around modalizing pentatonic notes, of which lot to love about that. Pattern number one. But when you start doing this, even if you are out of tune, you've kind of all of a sudden gone through the walls of what the pentatonic can actually properly give you a methodology to actually cage, if you will, so to speak. So the problem is then you become a prisoner of a 5-shape system in a 7-note world, and that is a little problematic. Hence kind of why, these mode shapes, hang on, where are you? No. Yes. That. Those basically, although we're missing 3 there, that concept allows you to go, got it. Same, with the exception of Lydian, because of the way the 4th note in the 2nd octave falls. Same number of notes on the exact same strings. And we have order. Now, the thing is that it also gives you a kind of a very straightforward way to be able to create chords right out of the gate in a way that kind of 1 to 1, I should say 1 to 3 to 5, you can actually see the direct relationship between the chords and the scales. The note names inform the shapes inform the shapes of the chords, and all of a sudden you have all this stuff working together. I started to mention this thing a moment ago, and I kind of went into this. Sooner or later you're going to hear, that's why I fingered it with the right hand. You can hear. Gosh, what a lot easier to play with one hand, 2 hands really. The point being is you can hear what those notes are going to be. Ultimately, all the knowledge in the world doesn't mean nearly as much as it does when you use it to start finding the things that you're already hearing and pulling them off the fingerboard, because you kind of go, I think it's that. And all of a sudden, you get better and better at doing that. That is a huge, huge reveal for a lot of players. Okay, hang on a second. Hang on. Do I see bait here? I play the 5, 7 as a relative major of the 7 when the 7 comes up. I am not following you 100%. An add chord. Go ahead and illuminate that a little bit more. Relative minor, still the same key. I use cage for chords. I use 3 notes per string for scales. I know it's weird, but there you have it. No, that's great. Not trying to take over. No, you're expressing yourself. I love that. If I could get everybody to have that much input, I would be a happy dude. All right, let me go over here and see what the heck is going on over here in Facebook land. First of all, okay, Dave, what a great guy. Okay, what about 2 chords G2? Okay, so Dan, let me make sure I didn't miss anything. Okay, hold on. All right, Dave, I love this guy. It's like a shot in the arm. Okay, what about 2 chords? So basically, I would write this chord right here as a C sus2. And many people would be inclined to just write that as a D2. The implicit thing about it being a sus chord is that it's basically, instead of being 1, 3, 5, it's basically, when you use the word sus, it's implying whatever number comes after the word sus has replaced the 3. And it's basically kind of remove the quality that makes a chord major or minor, the 3. If you say sus2 or sus4, it implies that it has a natural 5, and again, the number that follows the word sus is kind of what has replaced the 3. sus2 is a 1-2-5, sus4 is a 1-4-5, so on and so forth. All right, hang on. I don't know how you can rattle those notes off that fast. I can't even talk that fast. Shane, hey. Here's the thing is that if I can go C, E, G, 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 the whole strategy behind that is being able to have that clear a mental recognition of what those triad note groups are. So when you're playing a chord, you can kind of go, oh, this is a G major. It's got to be a bunch of G, B's, and D's. So if I can figure out what the G, B's, and D's are, as in G, 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 there's my B, and there's my D's, then it's G, D, G, B, D, G. And I know a lot about that chord very quickly because I knew it was really just a bunch of G's, B's, and D's because I know that's a major shape. So what ends up happening is it's kind of like that relative and the absolute happening at the same time. You have these kind of semi-parallel streams of consciousness about how you look at things. Like, I know this is a major bar chord, so I know it can only be a bunch of 1s, 3s, and 5s. And then, since I know that it's 1s, 3s, and 5s, and it started at G, I know it can only be a bunch of G's, B's, and D's. So once I can identify where the G's are, and where the B's are, and where the D's are, then I know this is 1, 3, 5, which means I now that it's 1, 5, 1, 3, 5, 1. And I have a lot of information. Then if I can go 1, 1, 3, 5, then the 4, I've taken that knowledge of those kind of two parallel pieces of information, build a bridge between them, and now I've got this platform to stand on and kind of have insight as I can go instead of playing, hey, I don't have to play that whole shape anymore. I can just go, again, instead of using the bar there, I just use my thumb for this guy. And I wouldn't be able to get to that, again, if this is the 1, 3, again, think about this, 1, 5, 1, 3, 5, 1. If this is a 3, whole step below the 3 is the... And all of a sudden, this becomes musical. And you're like, wait a second, I did that. That was me. And you begin to kind of go, I understand it. And I saw Paul having a moment. Holy cow, I'm going to start memorizing triad note groups and making flashcards. It's a great way to go. Deanne, awesome, awesome, awesome. The shape. Steve, what's going on, man? No shame in shapes. Said no piano player ever. Well, okay, so here's the interesting thing. If you think about, I took a seat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 5, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, 4, flat 3, 2, 1, 1, 1. 1, 2, flat 2, flat 3, 4, 5, 4, flat 3, flat 2, 1, 1, 1. There are some shapes that are happening there. They just don't happen to be the same shapes as on the guitar. But there is, if you play a major chord and you play an inversion, there is a shape analogy that's happening there. And the difference, what separates us from them, is they actually know what they're doing. And this is kind of the advantage of being a piano player. Is like pretty much from day one, for most piano players, the notes were on the page. So they went, oh, all right, C major triad, C, E, G, D minor, D, F, A, E, G, B, F. So they just kind of had to know it because they had to recognize it to turn into music. We don't have that benefit. But the great thing is we had the shape, so we didn't necessarily have to know the notes to actually be able to make music. And the difference is we get a chance to kind of, just kind of start playing, Now, the interesting thing about that is there's a bunch of notes that I play. They're halfway in between the notes those piano players can't get to. Well, without like, a synthesizer sort of thing. That was me doing the Prince thing, by the way. Sorry, I digress. Um, the point being is that I really wasn't thinking about the note names there much at all. I knew I was playing a bunch of ones, flat threes, and fours and fives, and the sixes and the flat sevens, and I was kind of doing a little bit of a bend from the flat three to the. All that shape based. But you begin to make better decisions. If I need to kind of wade myself out of like, what was that note that I played? I can do that. Thanks, G2 is what I thought. I love deciphering like text. This is like I was trying to saying something in Spanish today, and the word just would not come through. Thank you for sharing this. It's awesome, Ronnie. With great pleasure. With great pleasure, Shane. You're playing in the moment. How much of your mind is thinking about theory, and how much is just playing? Well, that's a great question. So the neat thing is, kind of what you just kind of saw there a second ago, is the perfect example. Is that all that Steve Vai, when I was at GIT, he gave a clinic in 1980, something or other. And one of the things he said is like, I don't practice for my best day, I practice for my worst day. And I was like, oh, that was just such a giant pearl of wisdom, like a pregnant pearl of wisdom, that I was like, okay, I got to remember that. And so, there are days that you pick up the guitar and you're all thumbs and you're like, ooh, so what is it that you do on those days? Like you kind of go, and it happens, it's one of the reasons why on kind of my quote unquote mainstream channels, like every month or so, I will kind of take if you will, a walk around the block, and I will just play some track and I will jam for a half an hour or an hour nonstop soloing, because I'm testing my ability to live in an improvisational space for an extended period of time. I'm testing myself to see. Initially, in watching those back, I was going, oh, I kind of keep going back to, kind of the root position of pattern one of the pentatonic and kind of playing that same idea. So like that concept of repeating that same going back. I was like, all right, that's been banished. I don't let myself do that. And then I kind of went, okay, well, I noticed that I'm not playing a lot of sequences, because there was a period of time where I had gotten sequence heavy. Where I would just play repeated sequences over and over. That kind of became a little chain, a little prison. That became my go-to shtick, and I was like, okay, I'm breaking out of that. And the best part is kind of watching one of those back. I was like, oh, I don't live in sequence land anymore. I can invite sequences back to the party. So the point being was like, how long can I actually solo for without repeating myself? And the goal then is to live in an improvisational space where I'm letting myself go for a walk around the block. It's like letting the dog off the leash. Let that puppy run. And in so doing, I've discovered one of my favorite parts about my playing, which is the guitar player. Now, that said, one of the things about the studies that I've been doing, both in sharing with my students and myself over the past year, is getting informed about the note names. I make much better decisions. There's one last little reveal here. Oh boy. There's just all sorts of great stuff going on in this chat. So let me not get sucked into the vibrato part of the conversation. There is a thing as you're soloing. That 2 holes and a half and a 3 hole and a half is the most important tell for improvisational soloing for me ever. I was gonna say ever, but I'll just say for me. So basically, I'm in D. So this right here, the two holes with a half step on either side is what I'm going to call just a double. Where you've got, is what I call a double double. 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 Double, double. That is to say we got kind of a double, and then we have that other set of holes. That other, if I kind of see this as, that is a, if you will, two sets of hole steps. I call that the double double. This is a double. I guess it's a kind of a double and a half, but I call it the double double. But if you can recognize, the great thing about that is if you know your notes are D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, and D. I played a C instead of a D. Sorry, C instead of a C sharp. Because there's my D, C sharp, B, A, G, F sharp, E, D. So you can hear when it's going to be a single double or a double double. And that is the giant reveal. You're like, oh snap, because the whole neck then just going to go, but it's done by ear. And as you notice, as I was playing that, I wasn't looking at the neck. And I'm training myself to become improvisationally intelligent. Not just so I can improvise, although that is a nice end, but such that I can get better at hearing that interval. And then being able to just, I love that. Whoever put the thumbs up, thank you for that. Like, boom. Being able to go, oh, I can hear where that is. That note's there. It doesn't matter whether you're soloing or you're in the middle of a chord. You can go, oh, that note's a whole step away. Or that note's a half step away. The better you get at being able to hear that, that's kind of like the third piece. There's the relative, there's the absolute, and then there's the heard. Notice that it's that finger, not that one. That's the heard finger. But that's the big reveal. The hearing part is really, really, really important. All right, I'm going to take some bait here. Hang on a second. Vibrato is as much fun as the notes you play. All right, so Matthew, I got a little something for you here. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 3, 2. I've lost the ability to count. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. Just start off with a little baby vibrato. 1 and 2 and 1. Eighth note triplet. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3. 1 and 2 and. I'm not really hitting an eighth note. Don't worry about an eighth note vibrato. Worry about the eighth note triplet. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. 1 E and a 2 E and. So that's a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Lost the ability to count. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3. A lot of people have never been taught that vibrato is purely a rhythmic subdivision, as in 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. So the other thing about that. There are times that I'll bring the vibrato on right away. But just taking, that's eighth note, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. Sorry, you go 1 2 3 2 2 3 3. So the idea of just practicing different subdivisions with your vibrato, that will do you a world of good. No, and so here's the deal. Of all the things that you can learn, vibrato is low-hanging fruit. Spend some time looping your favorite vibratoists and just going. Listen whether you like a slow vibrato. Versus some people just gravitate towards a faster one or a slower one. So a lot in warm-ups to get it out of my system before I do. I don't do it during the worship set. I love that. There we go. You guys are having a good old time over there. Legato. I've got a nice wide metal vibrato. Okay, it's the only one I have. Of the timing of the vibrato, see the secrets. There's the secret. And so the deal is, if you got a nice metal vibrato, I noticed I did the face. All right. Okay. There's the speed. There's how much note fluctuation there is on it. And then how quickly you go to the vibrato. Those are kind of the main things. Rhythmic timing, boom. Making the telly talk. Look at that. I get it. I always get it through when my publisher chimes in. Vibrato, a big part of developing your style. Absolutely, Shane. Shane, I need to work on isolating and muting. I get a lot of neighboring string noise when I bend up and bring in any vibrato. Okay. One of the things I learned to do is just pushing that string out of the way as I bend up this way. First of all, I would suggest, the right hand down on the bass strings. The fleshy part of your first finger is got enough of the other strings that they're muted. And just practice. I'm literally bending one string and hitting all six, right? So what I did there is I had the string, because here, the string, because of the angle of the hand when I get over in the high string, I don't have quite as much space to get in underneath the notes, so they can kind of go underneath the fingertip there. So what I did, I had the string ride up on top of my nail, literally like that. Careful, that can go into the upper edge there if you're not. And then there, what I kind of grabbed I took the pick. I actually palmed the pick, which is interesting. I wasn't even aware that I was doing that, but I basically picked the note, held it like that. All right, now that's the other bend. All right, now there, if we're going to do it with the fingers, I got my thumb on the fourth string, my freeway finger. No, I don't use that finger on the freeway. On the second string. and I'm plucking with my first finger on the third string. I can do the same thing with the big. All right, there I'm using the fleshy part of my first finger. So the right hand's down on the bass strings. All right, if I hit the second string accidentally, it's crept underneath my first finger, but if I hit, it won't ring. All right, you want a little something to work on there. It's basically taking the A minor pentatonic. We're bending the, what the heck are you? You're a G, A, B, C, D, a D to an E. Releasing the bend. Pulling off to the C, which is bending up automatically. To the D. The other thing you might try doing gets harder to get that pull off there. So you might end up going, doing with a little pick stroke there. All right. That half step. I don't, I don't know where I learned the pre-bend. I don't know. And usually I can go, oh, I stole that from that guy, and I stole that from that guy. I don't know which of the guys I stole that from, but one of them. I am all about giving credit where credit is due, but that was honestly that particular brand of thievery would have happened before Marty Friedman was known as the artist known as Marty Friedman. Vibrato is a huge part of developing your style. Shane, you couldn't be more correct. It is, in many ways, I get that bend from Tim Pierce, great player. It's the exclamation point at the end of the sentence, and it is so cool. And I think most guitar players just rush it, and they don't take time to think about it. Speaking of time, it's 7:57. I've generally been trying to keep these guys to about an hour and a half, but we've been having so much fun. I decided that I wanted to go a little bit longer because I wanted to make sure that we covered some of the cool Schenker. There we go. Come on. And he's referring to Michael Schenker, just in case you didn't know. One of the best. It's actually quite possible in. And Alan, I don't necessarily know how old you actually are, but I was around when UFO was a new band on the radio. Which actually is a great thing because it meant that I got a chance to hear them as they came out. And Michael Schenker was, I'm grossly out of tune. But I remember bastardizing that song as like a seventh grader, just destroying it, but being so excited because UFO had this great ability to take kind of these classic blues rock riffs around. That kind of vibe, and it was a huge influence, huge. Yes, I toured with MSG and Michael Schenker, and Michael called me the professor. It was a very much a term of an endearment. I adored him. He and his entire team were great. They were just really took unbelievably good care of me, which is not always the case when you go out on the road. Yes, they were new releases at the time, old as dirt. Are you talking about me? Are you looking at me? All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to close out in some prayer here. I just want to give thanks to everybody. Thanks so much. I hope wherever you are in your week and in your world, I pray that it's a good place, and if it's not, I pray that God really comforts you. So, with that said, Lord, we pray thanks. We pray thanks for your comfort, for your wisdom, Lord. You infill us with your Holy Spirit, Lord, so we can have an enriched life, and we can enrich the life of those around us, Lord. I know that this is a trying time for a lot of folks. Working from home can cause some stresses in the family. So, Lord, if anybody's having a hard time around that, Lord, I just pray that you grant them extra patience. And, Lord, if it's patience that you're wanting to give them, I suppose they're in a situation where they're having the opportunity to outwork that. But, Lord, I pray that you give them just a word about how to find that patience, Lord, how to dig a little bit deeper. Lord, we just give thanks, and we love that, around music and the guitar in particular, we got a chance to come together. I'm so grateful. I'm grateful for this group of men, and if there's a woman, Deanne, I don't know whether I think that's a woman, but if it's a man's name and I just completely embarrassed you, Lord, forgive me. He knows not what he does, but the point being is, I just it's great to be able to come together let me see if I can back out of that, as a group of believers who love the guitar. All right, hold on. Mid prayer, what an imbecile. Hang on a second here. All right, let's just fix this. Hold on. Yep, I've totally made an imbecile out of myself. South Australia, Deanne, I'm so used to thinking of this as a bonding group of guys. I want to apologize before I go back into prayer. Deanne, you rock. You are I think, the lone young woman. No, you are the lone woman in this group, at least that I know of. I've mispronounced your name, and I have shown tremendous stupidity in presuming we're all just a bunch of dudes. So now that I've thoroughly embarrassed myself, please forgive me, and we will head back into prayer. Lord, I just give thanks for the spirit of humility that you continue to give me, and I embrace it, and I give thanks for that. I'm so grateful to have this group of believers and lovers of guitar and music and worship and just being together. It is such a privilege for us to be able to come together in this time of fellowship. I'm so grateful. I'm so thankful. It is nourishing for my soul. You know that I need it, and hopefully I make you proud, Lord. There's nothing like pleasing your Father, Lord. And I just pray that everybody here, we just we have a new revelation to you, Lord. And through that, we are able to reflect that in our worship, both in our personal time together and in whatever corporate worship is going to be as we finish this year and we look into the next year. I give thanks for each of these people, Lord. I just pray that you bring your wisdom into whatever challenges they may have, and as well as the celebration of the things that they are celebrating. Because, God, you're always present, and you're with us through the best and worst of times, and you do not fault us when we fall short. Instead, you see the gold, and I pray that we learn to find more of the gold in one another, and we learn to find the gold in ourselves, not just that we can be blind to our shortcomings, but we can see the things that you see when you see the good that you see in us. We ask all of this in Jesus' mighty name. Amen. All right, Deanne, I am so sorry. I am cringing internally, but I think you know my heart, so I'm just going to let myself kind of chill out after that. Stupid me. It's been this male group of folks, and that is so rude. I am so socially embarrassed for myself. I can't even really even put it to words. So please accept my heartfelt apology, and I'm going to allow myself to just kind of move on. But that needed to be said. Bruce, I love you. Rick, Alan, Shane, Chris, Deanne. I should have figured that out then. So much a privilege. Did I miss any? Brett, Alan, thank you. Hold on, and Matthew, and hang on a second. I can do this. Let's see here. Hold on. Oh, I'm not going to be able to get back to that window, am I? Yeah, I am. Hey, what do you know? Facebook is cooperating. Brett, Shane, Brett, Deanne, Paul, Dave, if you're still here watching me embarrass myself. I love you guys, really. Just thank you so much. This is a real gift and privilege to be able to serve you guys like this. This is an outreach of Worship Musician Magazine. We have a new issue that's just getting ready to go live. It got delayed because of a product review thing that is just in the process of being finalized. But tomorrow there will be a new issue available online, and you may see something about it in our social media. But at the very, very least, one of the ways that you can provide support for what we're doing is not giving money. Just read the magazine if you're not already, because we work really, really hard. In any case, no guilt, but thank you so much for tuning in. Next week, we have a very special guest, Tyler Logan. He has done a bunch of Helix presets for our friends at Multitracks, and he's going to be joining us, and he is a rock star, serving the Lord, that is. So I look forward to seeing you next Tuesday night. Thanks so much, and God bless. Thanks again.